Okay, boys. Well, one go in the morning, dragging a ball and chain. They took me to the station and put me on a train. I tried to hide the handcuffs, she tried to hide the tears. Tried to paint a picture that would last me 90 years. Well, the engineer blew the whistle, it made a mournful sound. Shouted all aboard and I was prison bound. The train left the station, I watched her leave goodbye. It's hard to see through cold black smoke and tears in your eyes. Black smoke from the train, two tears falling down. White smoke from the pistol that shot the gambler down. I didn't mean to kill him, why did he have to die? Then there be no cold black smoke and tears in my eyes. Since that sad day, I wonder if she's forgotten me since I went away. Looking through the bars at night, gray clouds in the sky, reminds me of that cold black smoke and two tears in my eyes. Black smoke from the train, two tears falling down. White smoke from the pistol that shot the gambler down. I didn't mean to kill him, why did he have to die? Then there'd be no cold black smoke and two tears in my eyes. Alright, that was a tune by, I think, Clyde Arnold, but I got this little sticker here. I got some VCLT from Chris at Vinyl Transmission, and he sent me this sticker because I think he won like a burger eating contest. He got the record in burger eating out in California, so to give these out to all the kids who participated. But first off, I'm tired. I've been real busy, so I'm like behind. Like all these great videos out, I haven't really watched too many. So I have like 6 hours. It looks like really good videos from some of my favorite people I'm subbed to. So get that out of the way. Chris sent me a VCLT package. I think I got it like 2 days ago. And of course I open it right away. I can't wait and do this. But fantastic package. First off, he sent me a cassette of Ninja, Forgotten Shadows record, and Hyde, Rough Boys, and they're two, like, I think both Private Press records from '87, and the Ninja one especially is on my list. But I'm psyched to hear these. Unfortunately, I don't have a cassette player in the car, but I got a cassette right here, so we'll pop this on. And thank you, Chris. First off, Chris Vinyl Transmission. I hope everyone knows his channel. He's a lot of fun, one of my favorite channels. And I don't know, subscribe to him. And thank you, Chris. And then he sent me this record, which is fantastic, or at least looks like it's going to be fantastic. It's Uriah Heep, Logical Revelations. It's a double album. And man, you didn't have to go out and spend money on me. I know I sent you something, but I sent you stuff I had. But to go out and purchase something new and looks expensive, I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate it's something I would have bought if I saw it. And it's what it is I think it's a comp of 3 of the later Heap records, which I do not have. And it's Sonic Origami, Sea of Light, and Live Spellbinder. And I could see side 4 and one track off side 3 is like a classic Heap live with with Bernie Shaw singing, and I'm excited to hear it. And I'll open it now, and I can't wait to put this on. I may actually put this on tonight. And it's limited edition, 360 out of 1,000. So 1,000's a lot of records, but when it comes to a band like Heap, 1,000's, I don't think that's very many records for a classic band like Heap. And here we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, great picture. And the late Trevor Bolder, one of my favorite bass players from Ziggy Stardust, Spiders of Mars, the classic Bowie. But looks really good. Oh, Lee Kerslake on drums too. I don't know what he can't be on all the tracks. Lee Kerslake, side 3 track. Well, he's on some of the tracks anyway, but yeah, I am super psyched on this, and this is on, I don't know, Vinyl Countdown label, which is something from SFM, and it's on black vinyl, and I am absolutely psyched. This is going to fit in great with my Heap collection, and Chris is a huge Uriah Heep fan, and I mean, I love Uriah Heep, but I'm nowhere near the fan he is with the knowledge and everything, but he knows I really appreciate the Heap, and so I'm thrilled to have this. Thank you, Chris. And since this would be a short video, that's why I did that goofball song, which I won't do in my updates. But I'm gonna try to answer the. That's why it took so long too. I had to think of the quotes. I'm gonna do your Gimme 5 on the quotes, and it took a long time to think of things. And a lot of things like inside baseball to friends, and we'll have stories. So without getting too personal, I'll go with just some stuff I have. Let me see what I pulled out. Oh yeah, I'll go with my favorite rock lyric of all time. Or at least, I mean, it could change tomorrow, but I'll go with the Scorpions, Steam Rock Fever, which the lyric is, Steam Rock Fever, screaming rock believers, Steam Rock Fever in LA. And I think that sums up my life. I mean, that's just a philosophy to live by, and it's art too. So, Steam Rock Fever by the Scorpions, that's quote number 1. What did I get here? Quote, I don't have any. I'll just say Bad News, the movie, which I should go on about. Bad News was the comic strip, a British comedy troupe or team that did little mini movies on television in the 80s, early 80s. They did one of a spoof heavy metal band, Bad News. I'm sure most of you know, but maybe some of the American viewers don't know it. And they did a short movie, I think it was about an hour, called Bad News. And then they came back a couple years later, maybe 2 or 3 years later, and did Bad News on Tour, like part 2. And it was put out on a VHS in America with both of them together. And then they had a soundtrack CD and a soundtrack album. And I think I have a 45 too. I know they had at least 1 or 2 45s. But this is the record Bad News. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time. If I consider it a movie. But I consider a movie with the two together, because you got 2 hours and it flows into each other great, where they play Castle Donington. But there's so many quotes in that movie, like years ago, and we used to watch it, my wife and I. It's probably before we were married even, and like certain people knew the movie, and so I'd say like there's a quote, if you've seen it, the listen to the lyrics. That is a great line in there. I think the song goes like raping, shooting, burning, looting. Raping, shooting, burning, and a looting. Raping, shooting, burning, and a looting. Raping, shooting, burning, and a looting. And the rock critics saying, what are these crappy? He's like, listen to the lyrics. And of course when he says that, then the instrumental part comes up. But I'm yapping. But that's a good line. I think I learned how to play Stairway to Heaven when I was 13. Jimmy Page didn't write that till he was 23. So that's saying something. But there's like a million. Hello, Spider. A million great quotes from the Bad News movie, and I don't recommend seeing like little scenes of it in YouTube, because it'll spoil it. But if you get a chance, if you could watch the whole thing on a good computer, on TV, or you could order the disc of it. Well, anyway, yapping enough of that. Here's another quote. It's nothing I live by or really even had it memorized, but I think this is kind of funny. Off the Dictator's I Am Right 45, but there's a quote from Jerry Lee Lewis on here, and it says, I am always right. Once I thought I was wrong, but I checked it out. I was right. And that's pretty funny. And that's the Dictators, like when they came back in 1996. And I saw the Dictators, I've seen Dictators a lot of times, but when they first came out, I know they had a reunion in around '89. I'm sure they had a couple reunions, but I remember '89, and I missed it. And then they kind of reformed for good, or almost for good, in around '96. And the first time I saw them on that tour, they were still in their prime, and one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And hard to believe that was 21 years ago, the reunion era of the Dictators. Crazy. 1, 2, what was that, 3? Oh, another one. This is a story from a friend of mine who ran into, who knew the Ramones. Actually, he played gigs with them, and but it was a Dee Dee Ramone, Johnny Ramone story. I'll show this Bad Dee Dee King, the rap album. But I think he was backstage, or I can't remember. But the story is Johnny Ramone's reading a wrestling magazine, and on the back is a cover of, and you got to know the characters. Like Johnny Ramone's like just zero tolerance New Yorker, blunt, and Dee Dee's like borderline, intelligence, and but anyway, Johnny's holding the magazine, and this isn't, I didn't see this, but this story it's from a good friend. He's reading a magazine. On the back cover is Andre the Giant, and Dee Dee goes up to Johnny, and goes, that Andre the Giant, he looks Jewish to me. And Johnny goes, shut up, he's from France. Well, he must be from the Jewish part of France. And I love that story. And I have a couple other good Ramone stories. And I got to meet those guys. Now, I never met Dee Dee, but I hung out a little bit with Johnny, and I met some of those guys. And they were just funny. Just everyday talking between each other is just funny. But another buddy, he was in the men's room at the urinal, and Dee Dee Ramone thought he was by himself in the bathroom, and he's talking to the mirror. This is when that Madonna video came out. I don't know what it was, but he's like, but he's in the bathroom. Dee Dee's by himself, and Dee Dee's talking to himself, saying, did Dee Dee see the new Madonna video? Yes, Dee Dee did. Did Dee Dee see Madonna kiss the black man? Yes, Dee Dee did. And I love when he tells that story. I wish I saw that, but so that's my fourth quote or whatever. And my other quote is, I don't know where the CD is, but it's on those Celebrities at Their Worst, and it's the famous Buddy Rich tapes. Buddy Rich, the famous drummer, and he was just relentless at berating his band and everything. And I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's very R-rated, but one of his lines, and we'd use it, like it would come up in bands and stuff, but basically he's bitching and moaning about his younger band. This is probably in the 70s now, and like he's an old-time star, used to top talent, and now he's playing with these like bums in the 70s, and I'm probably not shaving and beards, but he goes, what is this, the goddamn House of David effing baseball team? This is a goddamn Buddy Rich band. He's like, we're a young band, we have faces, we don't wear beards, and it's just hysterical. But we're always like, what is this, the House of David baseball team here? And it would come up. It's not very funny here, but those would be my quotes. But check out the Buddy Rich if you could stand the F word. But he's got some winners. I think Paul Anka too. Like, great. But I don't know what else I had to say. Thank you, Chris, for the VCLT. Went to a great home. I really, really appreciate it. And you didn't have to go out and do that for me. But I do appreciate it. I can't wait to crank it. And that's it. Give me 5. Subscribe to Chris. And that's it. Cheers, guys.